devices.
And now, it's Coast Vue with Ricky Matthews. Brought to you by J. Allen Toyota and AGJ Systems and Networks on SuperTalk 103.1 FM.
Good morning and welcome to Coast Vue, the show that celebrates every single day the people who are making coastal Mississippi, and really Mississippi for that matter, a really special place to live, work, and play. I hope you enjoyed yesterday's show. I had a lot of fun bringing it to you. Conversation with principals, the family members behind FEB Brewery here in coastal Mississippi are distributing. They're the largest beer company distributor here in coastal Mississippi. And Frank Bertuzzi, an old friend, and his two sons, Rylan and Jeff, I just really enjoyed telling the story of 4 generations and the kind of dogged determination it takes to be able to stand the test of time. It doesn't come, as I pointed out yesterday, it just doesn't get handed to you on a silver platter. There's a lot of work that has to be done from generation to generation because times change and the business has changed. I don't care what kind of business you're in. We'll see a little bit about that here in just a second, for a matter of fact. Hey, before we go any further, I just want to share with you Lee Bond, who is the CEO for Singing River Health System. So they have multiple locations. The primary or the main, sort of the mothership being Singing River Hospital over in Pascagoula. He sends out a letter that kind of gives you the latest COVID stats. And it's pretty startling, to be quite honest with you. And, I will urge you to just continue to do your homework if you haven't had the vaccination. And hopefully you'll come to the conclusion that being vaccinated is probably the best approach. But here's some startling numbers that you should pay attention to if you have not been vaccinated. 95% of hospitalizations are unvaccinated. 99% at Singing River Hospital. 61, the current number of hospitalized in our facilities, 16 in critical care in the ICU, several on ventilators. A few weeks ago, there were only 8 admitted, only 8. Now there are 61. The average age a year ago was 67. The average age today, 49. 49 years old. That's the average age. 15%. That's the number of ICU beds open in the entire state presently. The hospitals along the coast are close to 0 ICU beds available. 0. Per the state of Mississippi database, there has not been a single verified death in Mississippi caused by a COVID vaccine. There may be one eventually. To date, there are none confirmed. Okay, 25 times. How much more likely an unvaccinated person is to be hospitalized with COVID than a vaccinated person? Anyway, very startling statistics. That's not national stuff. That's what's happening right here in coastal Mississippi. Please pay attention to it. It is very real. Hey, listen, the last couple of days I've been sharing something. I saw this ad for an app that's about self-growth, and it had this 20-day challenge. The first day was the 80-20 rule, or the 80-20 principle, or the Pareto effect. I talked about that yesterday. The second day is the power of habit. Now, that's actually a book that's been written called The Power of Habit by a guy by the name of Charles Duhigg, I think actually is the way he pronounces his name. There's been another book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. There are so many others. I think the one that most of us remember is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. There's so much there. He actually said this. This is a quote from Stephen Covey. Our character is basically a composite of our habits because they are consistent, often unconscious patterns. They constantly, daily express our character. It's very true. Think about it. Let's see. Sean Covey said this, depending on what they are, our habits will either make us or break us. We become what we repeatedly do. Jim Rohn, another motivational speaker, said this, motivation is what gets you started. Habit is what keeps you going. Warren Buffett, the famed money manager, one of the richest men in the world, said this, chains of habit are too light to be felt until they are too heavy to be broken. That's a really good one, actually, that how habits, once they become sort of who we are, it's really kind of hard to break a bad habit, so to speak. You know, if you dive into the American Journal of Psychology, in 1903, they actually defined a habit this way. From the standpoint of psychology, a more or less fixed way of thinking, willing, or feeling acquired through previous repetition of mental experience. You know, just repetition, you know, doing something over and over again, whether it's positive or negative, it can become a habit. And here's really kind of a startling statistic. In 2002, there was a daily experience study done by a habit researcher and her team. Her name is Wendy Wood. And what they found is that approximately 43% of daily behaviors are performed out of habit. 43%. Think about that. That's a pretty substantial number. Lewis Howell said this: I have learned that champions aren't just born, champions can be made when they embrace and commit to life-changing positive habits. And of course, how can you close out a discussion about habit and not quote someone like Vince Lombardi, the famous coach? He said this: winning is a habit. Unfortunately, so is losing. You know, I think about my career, and I think about how Stephen Covey, through his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and many others throughout my career really impacted me by teaching me how to focus on creating positive habits. They would teach me, as a result of that, learning to set the right kind of goals. And then I learned throughout the process that once you pursue them with dogged determination and you keep that repetition going, that you can sort of create a new version of yourself, the best version of yourself that I talk about here on the show a lot. Habits are something to really think about. So hopefully this gives you something to think about. Think about and reflect on your own habits throughout the day. How many of those do you see as positive? How many of those do you see as negative? And kind of set the course for setting, more positive habits in your life. I think you'll find that it really works. Most successful people will tell you what I just told you, and it really works. So now what we're going to do, we're going to shift gears, and we're going to have a conversation today for the rest of the show with someone who really knows a lot about creating positive habits. It's Wendy Swetman, the Chief Operating Officer for Swetman Security Company Incorporated, a company. He manages the daily operations of more than 400 people, and what he does in the community is really incredible. You're going to learn that here in just a second. But Wendy, how are you doing, buddy?
Hey, good morning. Doing great.
It's good to see you, man. It's really good to see you.
Oh, man, what an honor to be here with you today.
Well, you heard me mention the FEB Distributing. They've been 4 generations, and now you have Rylan and Jeff and their cousin kind of taking it from here. Right. It's amazing what they've been able to do. But you're a business that's been around for a long time, and now it's in the 3rd generation. Tell me about your family members and how they've been involved in the business.
Well, I think it's a great American story. 2 people in the early 70s, my mom and dad. It started out doing overnights on a water tower off of Coon Street. And that water tower is still down there in Biloxi right now. And that turned in, from 1 guard, 1 hour to today, where we've grown for almost 50 years, 48 years we've been in business. So this is a no overnight success. This is a lot of hard work, a lot of ups and downs, some risk, without a little gamble, a little risk, the reward. And but at the end of the day, it's a great story about a family that's really worked hard, developed and invested in the team members we have here at Swetman's. We've just been blessed, and the community's been really good to us.
So let's say your dad's and your mom's still involved in the business. Oh, yeah. You have kids that are involved. You got cousins. Yep. Tell me about the family members who are involved in the business.
Well, I remember years ago when we were bidding on the Coliseum, and they were talking about having enough people to manage a big show. And I said, look, I got enough cousins and friends in this community. And that's just the truth. Mom and dad started the company in the 70s. My mom really took the company to the next level. My dad, as well is known, entered politics and other avenues that he explored. And my mom's been the driving force with Swetman Security. The next generation comes along with myself, and I grew up in this company. The first 10 years of our business was out of our kitchen. I mean, the guards would come and payroll was done on the kitchen counter. And I remember watching, that big machine that they used to put the checks in, they'd stamp it, and watching that done. And all the guards that came in, they were all family. They were characters. And, I grew up around them. And my whole life, even though I had a public service career, has always been in the business. Now today, where we have about 400 full-time employees that get a check every 2 weeks here at Swetman's. And then as we'll talk about as we get into the event side of the business, and that's been really my fingerprints on the company. The next generation, my sons, Winfield and John Christian, my nephews, Jackson and Judson, and just the whole, my nieces, Lily. I mean, they've all been on the front lines with us at events and concerts, working with us. And it's, man, it just does my heart so good. Mom and dad are still right there behind the scenes. And it's just everybody's pulling the load.
It's really amazing. Of course, in my dealings at the Sun Herald back in the day, we worked closely with your mother. Mm-hmm. And, she's probably one of the unsung entrepreneurial heroes in the state of Mississippi, man. You think about what she built and how passionate she was. We'll come back and tell a little bit more about her story on the other side of this and continue to talk about how Swetman Security has become this diversified company because of so many challenges, whether it be, the 9/11 and what it forced on you guys, or making sure banks are safe, or any number of other opportunities that have come to you guys to expand your business. We'll talk about all those aspects before this is over. We'll see you after this break, and we'll continue the conversation with Wendy Swetman.
Coast Vue on SuperTalk 103.1 is brought to you by J. Allen Toyota on I-10 exit 38 Gulfport. See all the incredible inventory at allentoyota.com. And remember, when you think Toyota, think J. Allen Toyota.
Hey, South Mississippi, it's Jay Allen at Jay Allen Toyota, and I got something new for you for 2021. It's the Jay Allen Certified Collection. What that means is we selected our very best inventory with under 75,000 miles, and they're 6 years old or newer. That comes with a multi-point inspection, a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and a 3-day buyback guarantee. So come check out the Jay Allen Certified Pre-Owned Collection right here, I-10 exit 38 in Gulfport, or on allentoyota.com.
If Alexa's part of your life, you've got one more way to access SuperTalk. SuperTalk Mississippi is now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Once enabled, just say, Alexa, play SuperTalk Mississippi at any time and start listening. It's that easy. Just one more way to stay informed and connected with your state. Learn more at supertalk.fm/Alexa. SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi. Now available on Amazon Alexa devices. Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen. Okay. Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on SuperTalk Mississippi, and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking hard-to-find PPE items. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. When your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
SuperTalk Mississippi.
From outer space, visitors from another world. We've had contact with bug-eyed monsters.
This is actually a flying saucer.
Flying saucer?
I'm from another planet.
Where late nights are kind of weird.
Well, they must have a reason for their visits.
The unexplained, the weird, and the downright creepy. Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Late nights. SuperTalk Mississippi. His love for the coast is why he's here. It's Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. We're having a conversation with Wendy Swetman. What an incredible story. the Swetman Security story is. But, you know, it's so interesting. We were talking about your mom when we went to break. Your mother is Cindy Payne Swetman, the Payne family. I mean,
Yes.
another family that's synonymous with law enforcement. So you have the Payne family and you have the Swetman family, and they came together with your mother and father coming together.
Yeah,
your
Gulfport,
mother,
Biloxi.
yeah, Gulfport and Biloxi, right? I know.
Right.
Hey, man, I was raised in Gulfport, married a Biloxi girl. I know so well what you're saying. Thank God we don't have that big wall between the two cities like we used to. That Travis said used to get to DeBees Road, and for those of us in the community, we'd say, oh, you know, there's that big 30-foot wall. And then if you're on the Gulfport side, you know, there's that big 30-foot wall. It's not as much there as it used to be, but it is interesting to see these Gulfport and Biloxi families come together. But your mother, I described her off the air as a force to be reckoned with as an entrepreneur. She was really an amazingly, doggedly determined person to form this company, wasn't she?
Oh, absolutely. You know, and a lot of great successes, there's those partnerships. So my dad really was that business development side, right? The networking, the social, but mom was that force that was organized, driven, you know, that really put it all together. Together, they made a great team starting the company. But, you know, there's a lot of businesses that start and don't sustain. And the key to Swetman sustainability over the last 48 years is no doubt my mom. You know, she graduated college in 2.5 years with her 4-year degree. She has a degree in corrections is what her degree was in. And she is just one of those people that doesn't take no for an answer. She gets up early, goes to bed late, and just works hard.
Yeah. You know, it's I talked about this with Frank Bertucci, and I've mentioned it before, but the companies that were able to be passed from generation to generation, a great book was written about that called Built to Last, that they were able to kind of embody into the company really sustaining core values. Now, those are the things that kind of kept the company healthy, but these are not normally the things that, you know, it's not that you're just doing the things you always did. It builds into the company a willingness to learn and make adjustments and be strategically focused. And what you have seen since you came into the business and what your mother's helped sort of manage along the way has been, man, just incredible change in the security business over the last 20 years. Unbelievable, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. We certainly, you know, with the times and as the coast has grown, you know, being here on the Mississippi Gulf Coast in the early 70s and starting there, you know, we all saw a huge explosion with the casinos when they came on board. And, you know, Swetman's provided security pre-construction and during construction security on every single casino project on the Mississippi Gulf Coast. We were a part of every single project. Today, we're still partners with most of our casino properties, providing services on non-gaming areas, so parking garages, parking lots, special events, ballrooms, things like that. You'll see Swetman's on those same campuses on many coast casinos right now, still partnering in that.
It's really incredible. You have offices now in Biloxi, Jackson, Oxford, Mobile.
Yes.
You're involved in stadiums and, you know, huge crowds and events and court system and county work. I mean, good Lord. I mean, did you ever imagine that you would have so many divisions of your company?
No, there's no way. Mom and Dad built the company as an industrial company. And then we started to branch out in the courts as there's a demand there for screening, you know, coming in and out of the courthouses. And certainly as we saw trends across America where violent crime was up and gun-related incidents were up. And so it just heightened the threshold of security. So now you see us in multiple school districts across South Mississippi with officers that are in elementary, middle, and high schools every single day on those campuses. You see us in your local municipal, county, and state courthouses here in South Mississippi with officers, uniformed officers, like the uniform I have on today that are there. We take pride in our appearance to prevent a professional product. And as we tell all of our team members that are here is that's our name on that patch. It's not anonymous. You know, that's the Swetman name. You're part of the Swetman family. And that's really kind of the secret sauce is everybody that comes in here, we treat them like family and we make sure they know this is a family business. And we take a lot of pride in that.
It is amazing to see what you guys have been able to do. And I agree when you think about that, that appearance. There's a very unique Swetman feel when you see someone in your uniform, because you're law enforcement, man. You're part of the law enforcement community. You're protecting people. You're making sure that things are safe. September the 11th was a turning point in your business, wasn't it?
Oh, absolutely. September the 11th, let's talk about air travel in that. And we had a long-standing relationship with our local Gulfport Biloxi Regional Airport and working with them. And that changed for them. They now at the airport, where it used to be Swetman Security, now it's Gulfport PD. And they heightened, everything there dealing with the airport, but that also had to deal with screening and everywhere else that we just talked about, and that added security personnel to that.
So if you think about, I see all these different areas. Is there one area you said you started sort of in the industrial side, but where are the most number of employees, allocated these days?
Well,
on a day-to-day basis
is industrial. That's your ports, power companies, hospitals, and that's the largest nucleus of employees there. At one time, on the Gulf Coast, we had officers working in Chevron, DuPont, Mississippi Power, all these locations. Now that's changed a little bit over the years because corporate structures have changed, and some of these big national companies have gone to what's called global purchasing. So they'll choose one company to do everything from the Brazilian pipeline to Pascagoula, Mississippi, kind of a deal. Kind of the key to our success is that this is our region. We stay in our lane in that sense. So I want to do a great job. And our motto is dependability is the difference. So that if I don't just come in and sell you the service, I talk about when the defecation hits the ventilation, I'm the guy you want on the phone and you want to see me. And so the individuals that we serve, they get that service here, our large industrial contractors.
It's actually interesting to think about it, because I don't care whether you're in the media business or the beer business or the radio business. There is a tendency for scale to be the big thing. In other words, you have a major conglomerate that comes in and buys up all these little small guys. I bet you've been tantalized along the way with the opportunity, at least the opportunity to sell out, and you've not done it. So tell me about that. Tell me about that commitment to staying the family-owned business.
Yep, great question about that. So there's not many Swetman Securities left in the world. They've all been bought up. One of our largest private competitors like us was in New Orleans, and they recently sold out. They were a third-generation company. They sold out to a big national chain. There wasn't a succession plan for them. I talked to the owner over there, and she had inherited it from her family and didn't have anybody in her family to take it over. That's something we're really proud of right now. The third generation, they're here. They got a uniform on. They're learning about the business. I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and I tell them all, I'm like, this opportunity is yours. You work hard enough, here's this opportunity for you. We take so much pride in being here in South Mississippi and working and partnering. And we're not just here as, I guess, taking money and working. You can go back and look, we give back in all kind of avenues along the Gulf Coast, and we're very proud of that. So if you look at what we do for Salvation Army every year, there's the Swetman Family Kettle. And, we're out there for sun up to sundown, ringing the bell. We make a personal commitment, and then a lot of our partners in the community come and make donations. Boys and Girls Club. The Boys and Girls Club over in North Bay, that was a club that I founded. It was a grassroots campaign we started with Boys and Girls Club. My good friend, Miss Sue Reed, was the director back then, and what a phenomenal woman she is, and we worked together. Our homeless dedication, you look at the shelter that we started about 10 years ago, my sons, myself, my wife, all of our family have worked in the shelter. We manage it. We keep it going every year. It's open probably about 15, 16 days out of the year when the temperatures drop down below 40. None of that's taxpayer dollars involved in that. We just make a commitment to make it happen. So
yeah, I want to spend some time on the next segment talking a lot more about where this drive to contribute to the community, where does it come from? I'm not asking you that now. I want to spend more time in the next segment talking about that. But when if you think about, Someone said to me one time, if you want to get something done, find a busy person and ask them to do it. And that's actually there's a lot of truth to that, really. If you think about what you guys are involved with on a daily basis, just in terms of the security business, and then you have a leasing business over here that has like some 200 units involved. You're busy. You're busy people, and you still find the time, not just to volunteer your time, but to actually create incredible efforts that help the community, where you're just committed year after year after year of doing that. We'll explore that. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with Wendy Swetman of Swetman Security, and we'll talk more about community work and why that's so important. We'll see you after this break.
Listen live or on demand and watch episodes of Coast Vue on your laptop, desktop, or on your phone or tablet by going to supertalkmsgulfcoast.com.
106.3 Casino Radio is here. Tune to 106.3 to discover all of our must-see attractions and everything that's happening at our 12 incredible casino resorts. Where to eat, where to stay, what to do, and where to play. 106.3 Casino Radio has you covered with everything you need to know to help make your visit here to the coast one you'll never forget. Turn on 106.3 Casino Radio or listen now on our website, CasinoRadio1063.com.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking very hard-to-find PPE items to make our community a safer place. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. They were even sending thousands of dollars of PPE supplies free to local schools in need with help from other local business leaders. The next time your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider a local company that supports your ball teams, cheerleaders, and area homeless. Consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply, the local guys that keep your prices fair, your service and selection excellent, and your health our business. Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
SuperTalk.fm has a new look and is more informative than ever with expanded Mississippi news coverage, the latest Mississippi weather, Mississippi sports, and of course, the talk that's important to you. Every show, every podcast, and every late-breaking story. Constantly updating the news the second new developments happen. All in one place. The new SuperTalk.fm. SuperTalk Mississippi.
From outer space, visitors from another world. We've had contact with bug-eyed monsters.
This is actually a flying saucer.
Flying saucer?
I'm from another planet.
Where late nights are kind of weird.
Well, they must have a reason for their visit.
The unexplained, the weird, and the downright creepy. Coast to Coast AM with George Norrie. Late nights. Super Talk Mississippi.
Hey South Mississippi, the future has arrived. It's 2021, and at J. Allen Toyota, we're here to serve you. Want to let you know that we have Allen's lifetime warranty on every new Toyota we sell. That also comes with Toyota Care. That's 2 years and 25,000 miles of complimentary maintenance. We have a great rental department. Our service department's ready to take care of your current vehicle. We're rolling out J. Allen certified pre-owned for 2021. You got to come to I-10 exit 38 right here in Gulfport. You're going to love what we have to offer. When you think Toyota, think Allen Toyota.
Feeling down? Here's your prescription for a daily dose of good news and positive vibes. Good Things with Rebecca Turner. Every afternoon, Rebecca highlights all the good things happening right here in the state you call home. Daily exposure to Good Things with Rebecca Turner may cause smiling, feelings of positivity, happiness, and even laughter. When you experience these symptoms, tell your friends to listen.
Okay.
Weekdays starting at 2 p.m. here on Super Talk Mississippi and now on Amazon Alexa devices.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. Talking to Paul Thorne, Mississippi true treasure, really incredible recording artist, singer, songwriter. Has been doing it a long time, doing it the right way.
It's almost like a Forrest Gump thing because, I was a boxer, / I worked in a furniture factory, / I had a gig 2 nights a week playing my acoustic guitar in a pizza restaurant, / I was in the National Guard. And,
wow.
All this stuff was going on at the same time. / I had a writing contract with Rick Hall and Fame.
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show. Every day, we're driving the debate in America with the fastest moving, hardest hitting, most comprehensive, fact-based commentary on the radio. We don't hold back. We never shy away from telling you the truth. Our show is a meeting place of ideas. We have the most important guests and the biggest thinkers in America.
Weeknights at 9
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show
on SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi.
Just seems to me people have so much invested in not telling the truth.
When you want the truth.
Simply because it might hurt some feelings.
And nothing but the truth.
Lose some subscribers.
You want the Gallo Radio Show.
I just think in this audience, you still believe that if you tell the truth, you come out ahead.
The Gallo Radio Show.
And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi.
And now, it's Coast View with Ricky Matthews. Brought to you by J. Allen Toyota, Gulf Coast Business Supply, and AGJ Systems and Networks on SuperTalk 103.1 FM.
Welcome back to Coast View. I have Wendy Swetman with us. You know him. You'll know the name. The name's been in politics for a couple of generations. Wendy is the Chief Operating Officer for Swetman Security. And, he's involved tremendously in the community. But you heard what I said about habits at the beginning of the show, Wendy. And that last one from Vince Lombardi, where he said, winning is a habit. Unfortunately, so is losing. To develop a winning habit, to really focus on goal setting and staying organized. And I mentioned the 80-20 rule, where too often 80% of our energy is on 20% of the outcomes when it should be the other way around, where we're really 20% of our effort can lead to 80% of the outcome if we're doing the right things.
Right.
And you know about that, don't you?
Yeah. First of all, I think it starts with just having a positive attitude. I get up every day. My wife says it annoys her, but I get up every day just fat and jolly, right? And I tell people that's kind of how us Swetmans roll. And I come into my office and on purpose every day with a good attitude, no matter what's happening around us, a good attitude. Because my mom used to always say, son, no matter what, they can't eat you, is what she'd say. And, you're going to make it. And that's where it starts, Ricky. That's what it's the key to the success. And I tell everybody that comes in here to work with us is the first thing we do is we look for nice people, because I can't train that. You either are or you aren't. And everything else we do, we can train you to do. But you got to be nice and work hard. That's the key. And so, you asked about public service and volunteerism and every bit of that. Well, I come from a service family. It's in our DNA. And I've watched every member of my family, my mom, my dad, my aunts and uncles on both sides of the family, continue to give back. And so naturally gravitated to that. And, and I ask the good Lord every day, just give me an opportunity to serve in some capacity. And, and there's more ways than you can count to serve. They're there.
There really are. I often talk about the 1,000 points of light that President Bush used to talk about. You have the non-government organizations, the nonprofits, and you have governmental organizations, and all these people, working really hard to meet certain needs. But then you have these volunteer groups and just volunteers in general that come in and fill the gaps and find their areas. It takes that. It takes that in a community like coastal Mississippi. And I talk about this all the time on the show, that resiliency is at the core of the DNA for coastal Mississippians, the ability to bounce back, our ability to reach across political lines and racial lines and take care of our neighbors in times of when times are tough, like after a hurricane, for example. And Governor Phil Bryant and I talked about that earlier this week. That you mentioned nice, but nice too often is kind of a missing quality. I think what's happened in this day of social media, that we've become a little bit willing to say things to people that we would not say to them if we had to look at them in the face. And that we can. I sort of covet the days when we could have political disagreements, we could have policy disagreements, and still love each other. And Phil really supports that school of thought. And it's good to have people like you in the community who believe that that's such an important part of what it means to be successful in business, what it means to be successful in the community, and it makes a difference, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I've been in government, been in the public sector, been in politics, and you want to talk about, you better have thick skin if you want to get into politics. And we all have to live here, and you've got to be able to set aside a lot of those, egos and just hurt feelings, and just, put it in the context that it's in and move forward. And I love living here in Biloxi. I love living here on the Gulf Coast. I mentioned on the break, Ricky and we're neighbors along the beautiful Back Bay. What a blessing, right, to live on the Back Bay of Biloxi. It's gorgeous. I pinch myself every morning when I get up. I grew up a couple blocks from the bay, and I remember going down there in my little Zebco rod and, catching those hard-head catfish behind the processing plants. You about broke that old rod back there doing it, I just love living here. I love the people, and life's too short. It's just way too short to be angry.
But here's the other thing. It's way too short not to give back,
That's right.
You set a great example. John Harrison and I had a long conversation about this. I think maybe the first week I had this show when we talked about why it's important for people to give back to the community. And one of the things that he pointed out, which I totally agree with, and this has been a theme over and over again over the past year and a half, that someone doesn't just suddenly go and be the president of the Gulf Coast Business Council or the United Way or whatever the organization might be, the Boys and Girls Club or whatever. They have to work their way up. I mean, they have to go, as he points out, they have to go flex those muscles. And
right.
The way to get started is you got to go just volunteer, go get involved in an organization, learn about it, maybe go get involved in another organization, so you can see different ways that they do things, and begin to understand from the ground up what it takes to lead either a volunteer organization or nonprofit or an effort that's focused on, in your case, this effort that you guys did to make sure that homeless people have a place to stay when it gets cold outside. Right. I mean, but you're not, what's interesting is you started kind of as a young guy, just spending time learning the lay of the land, so to speak, giving your time and energy. And as you sort of flex those muscles, you went from, just being a volunteer to leading these organizations to the point where you actually were forming organizations. What is the thing that got you going right at the very beginning?
I'll tell you, Ricky. In high school, when I was about maybe 15, I joined a youth board for the March of Dimes, and Miss Bonnie Edwards was running the March of Dimes back in those days. And
God bless her. I know her so well. Yeah.
And that was my first time to really get introduced to kids from all across the Gulf Coast, from different high schools, and get to know them. And these are young leaders that are doing great things in our community today that I got to know, when I'm 15, 16 years old. But I was able to really get motivated, and I want to see a change. That's a part of me, is I can't just sit back and watch, and I lead from the front. And it started right then. I ended up being the chairman of the youth board for the state of Mississippi. And that was some of my first speaking engagements, was at the state convention for March of Dimes. And I remember there was a guy named Nick Calico, and he was in charge of Pepsi over Mississippi. And I was in Jackson at St. Dominic's because, certainly the March of Dimes and their mission there, and with low birth weight babies. And so we're there, and I was able to give a speech, and it just set the tone. When I was 18 years old and graduated high school, I went to work for the city of Gulfport, and I worked for the police department. And my job was literally to change tires and unlock car doors and push motorists out of the road and direct traffic at major car wrecks and things like that. And that started forming me because I was on the front lines in the community. And I went to JD, to Mississippi Gulf Coast Community College at the Harrison County campus, and did the 2+2 program with USM at Long Beach. And the whole time I was working at the police department and seeing our community, the best of the community and the worst of the community, and was able to really see the need, see those people that, God bless them, they're good people and they need help. And you know, my Uncle George Payne was a police chief at the time, and we did a program then. He started it with a group of other great guys there in the community where we were delivering meals. And we started cooking out of the kitchen at the police department. And I was there as a young kid watching that. And I was out delivering meals at Thanksgiving and Christmas. And it forms who you are. You see the difference that it makes in people. When you knock on their door, Ricky, on Christmas morning, and they don't have anything there, and you're bringing them the only meal in fellowship, just to see somebody. Ricky, that touches you at your core. It really does.
It does, and that's, you know, if you think about it, Mississippi, I talk about this all the time on the show, that, you know, there are always going to be exceptions to the rule, but people who come from other places that come to Mississippi, what they experience is so different than what they thought before they got here. Oh, yeah. It's so different. We're a welcoming place. We care about each other. Again, there are always going to be exceptions to the rule, but there are less exceptions to the rule in Mississippi than your average state. And, you know, we're in the top 3 in most giving states, year after year after year after year. We don't get the credit we deserve as it relates to that. But boy, when you as a young person have the opportunity to see with your own eyes, and it gets in your soul, and you understand that you can make a difference. I mean, yes. One person can make a gigantic difference. I learned this throughout my career, but it's so true, isn't it, Wendy?
Well, it's that saying that maybe one person can't change the world, but you can mean the world to one person.
Oh, wow. Perfect. Yeah.
You know, and I've seen it. I really have seen it. You've seen that you're not just, when you go out there and you're delivering those meals, you're not just giving them nourishment for their body, it's nourishment for their soul. And, you know, I'm from a family that, man, that's what we do. Yeah. You know what, I'm just so blessed to see what it does today. The current law enforcement community, the sheriff continues, and the police chiefs to continue that program. I'm proud, though, of my family because I know where it started. And Mr. Dave Vincent was right there, and Mr. Jimmy Johnson, and, you know, just great guys looking around doing all that.
So many stories. And man, I was a paramedic back in the early days, so I got to know Wayne and George and all these guys back in the day, and man, they've always been super committed to the community. It's incredible. Hey, look, when we come back, we're going to continue the conversation with Wendy Swetman. It's really incredible what he and his family have done for this community. But we're gonna dive into a couple of those efforts to kind of wind up the final segment of Coast Vue today. We'll see you after this break.
SuperTalk.fm has a new look and is more informative than ever with expanded Mississippi news coverage, the latest Mississippi weather, Mississippi sports, and of course, the talk that's important to you. Every show, every podcast, and every late-breaking story. Constantly updating the news the second new developments happen. All in one place. The new SuperTalk.fm.
Hey, South Mississippi, it's Jay Allen at Jay Allen Toyota, and I got something new for you for 2021. It's the Jay Allen Certified Collection. What that means is we selected our very best inventory with under 75,000 miles, and they're 6 years old or newer. That comes with a multi-point inspection, a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty, and a 3-day buyback guarantee. So come check out the Jay Allen Certified Pre-Owned Collection right here, I-10 exit 38 in Gulfport, or on allentoyota.com.
When COVID started, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply began stocking hard-to-find PPE items. When Amazon and other mega internet companies were out of stock or inflating prices, Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply was providing local schools and businesses vital PPE supplies at fair prices. When your office needs PPE supplies, office furniture, or products to keep your business operating, consider Gulf Coast Business Furniture and Supply. We sell that too. Buy local.
SuperTalk Mississippi, your new home for the Ben Shapiro Show.
We don't hold back. We never shy away from telling you the truth.
The most electrifying national talk show on air today.
We have the most important guests and the biggest thinkers in America.
Ben Shapiro, brutally breaking down the issues of the day.
From politics to pop culture, we take a look at all of it. So don't miss out.
Weeknights at 9.
For something new and unique in talk radio, take a listen to The Ben Shapiro Show.
On SuperTalk Mississippi. SuperTalk Mississippi.
It just seems to me people have so much invested in not telling the truth.
When you want the truth.
Simply because it might hurt some feelings.
And nothing but the truth.
Lose some subscribers.
You want the Gallo Radio Show.
I just think in this audience, you still believe that if you tell the truth, you come out ahead.
The Gallo Radio Show.
And if you tell yourself otherwise, you're lying to yourself.
Mornings on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Hey, I'm Steve Azar, and you never know who or what you'll hear when I spend a Mississippi Minute with my friends. We're talking to Dale Berra. Take me back to growing up and what it was like in the household with a dad like Yogi Berra.
You know, we grew up with his funny sayings. You know, I remember Dad managing the Mets, and me, Larry, and Timmy are watching the game on TV. And all of a sudden, two streakers run out of the stands on TV, and the camera slips away from them. So when he gets home, me, Larry, and Timmy say, "Hey, Dad, those streakers, what were they, boys or girls? We need to know." And Dad looked us right in the eye and said, "I couldn't tell. They had bags over their heads."
In a Mississippi Minute. Be sure to check out In a Mississippi Minute with me, Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi, the SuperTalk Mississippi app, and now available on iTunes, Google Play, and Stitcher.
Talking to the people that help make the coast such a unique place to live. This is Coast View with Ricky Matthews on SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1.
Welcome back to Coast View. If you want something done, find a busy person and ask them to do it. Busy people know that you got to be organized. Busy people know you got to be goal-oriented. You have to be able to juggle a bunch of things at one time. Swetman Security, Swetman Luxury, Limousine, Swetman Properties, all the volunteer work that you guys are doing. When do you actually take time off? I'm curious.
Well, Sundays are important in our house, and a lot of the things we do, it's great. They're closed on Sundays, no concerts, football games, of course. And, you know, my wife, Jonelle, she is the rock in our house, and church is important on Sunday morning for us. And so that's what we do. And family is really, really important. So birthday parties and, you know, just picnics or shrimp bowls, you know, we do a lot of that. But Sundays is that day.
Well, that's kind of the same for us as well. You know, behind every great man, I don't know if I'm a great man, but let me just tell you this. I wouldn't have reached the success in my life had it not been for Ann. You know, marrying into the Bahanovich clan was one of the smartest things I ever did. And Janelle has to be a saint to support you through so many incredible efforts. And she's involved as well. I mean, so it's a family affair, isn't it?
Yes. Oh, yeah. She's been patient for sure. I mean, through a 26 years in public service, right? Law enforcement, and then, you know, on the board of supervisors, and then through a mayoral campaign. I mean, all these kind of things, you know, it gets stressful. And a lot of times our spouses, they internalize it more than we do. And so, I'm lucky. 23 years, Jonelle and I, you know, have been married, and we got two beautiful boys, and, you know, it's just, I'm just really blessed.
Hey, Wendy, I see, you know, you talk about your political career, Board of Supervisors, running for mayor of Biloxi. You know, I'm really struck by you always ran positive campaigns. That was always important to you.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
it will be interesting to watch you going forward, because I bet your political life is far from over. I see that your name will reemerge again. Is this something you still contemplate?
You know what? Inside, in my heart, absolutely. But, there's a time and a season for everything, Ricky. And right now, this time and this season is committed to our family business. I have a 12-year-old at home right now. And, when my oldest son, Winfield, he's pre-med up at Ole Miss right now, getting started his junior year. There's not a picture when he was a kid that I wasn't in uniform. Whether it was Christmas, Thanksgiving, Halloween, I was working. And with John Christian, it's been a little different. I'm able to be there for a lot of other things that with Winfield, I couldn't. And I value that more. Certainly we get older, we get wiser, we understand time is more valuable. And so right now there are no political aspirations except to continue to work in my community. And what's been important to me since leaving politics, and why I've stayed so involved and on the front lines, were those naysayers, those doubters, the guys taking cheap shots at you. That never was about being the supervisor, being the mayor. It was about leading and doing a difference, having a difference in your community. And I tell people, you don't have to sit on that public platform to do it. There are many opportunities to lead in your community and continue to improve quality of life. And so that's why I stay so committed to Salvation Army, Boys and Girls Club, our homeless coalitions, even in our housing department. We work hand to hand with the housing coalition, making sure that we're taking people that are homeless, that are in need. And I really, that's an important word, in need, because they need help, in placing them in housing. And we work on that every day in our office, helping do that as well. So, and
that's really important. That's really important. What someone once said to me, that if someone gets elected to office and they view getting elected as a promotion in life,
no,
look out. It's not good.
Mm-mm.
And what I like about what you have done, both at the Board of Supervisors and your willingness to at least put your name in the hat for the mayor of Biloxi, is that it certainly wasn't going to be a promotion in life. It was going to be an opportunity to be able to contribute back to the community. And I look, we're kind of lucky. That sort of describes Billy Hughes and Fofo Gillage and the mayor of Pascagoula and, Kenny Holloway coming in at Ocean Springs. If you see what's at the core for all these guys, it's a commitment to want to make a difference in the community. And, they don't get paid enough to do that job. It's a tough job, isn't it?
I told somebody the other day, Mr. Gillage, and I consider him a friend. Heck, we sat next to each other at lunch at Biloxi Businessman's last Thursday.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, it's funny. On one side of me was Billy Hughes. He was a speaker. On the other side of me was Mayor Gillage. But I told him, I said, how much does Mayor Gillage love his city? That he did it twice. He ran for mayor twice, put his family through that twice. You don't see that a lot. And that just shows how much he loved the city and how much, passion inside of him, he wants to do. And the city's on a good path right now. And I'm just proud to be a citizen and contribute where I can, along that line.
Well, Wendy, we're coming to the end of our time together, but it's been a terrific opportunity to tell your story, your family story, third generations now in the business, your commitment to the community. I'll give you the chance to 30 seconds, final word.
Well, in that, I want to point it out that I have 7 first cousins that became police officers here in South Mississippi. I'm a 5th generation police officer. I still serve today and volunteer at the Ivory PD as the major in charge of the reserves. Our family's committed here in South Mississippi in public service. And that service might be in business. It might be on the civic side of it. It could be in our church. But we're just proud to be Mississippians. We're proud to be from the Gulf Coast. And we get up every day thankful that the good Lord's given it to us as a gift. It's called the present because it's a gift every day. We live in the present.
Well, you're living by example, my friend. And I appreciate the inspiration. It's been a terrific visit. Have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Ricky. Appreciate you.
Follow SuperTalk Mississippi Gulf Coast 103.1 on Facebook, facebook.com/SuperTalk MS Coast 103.1.